Good evening. I want to call to order the 66th meeting of the Jacksonville Environmental and Appearance Advisory Committee. You have the agenda before you. Have you had a chance to look at it? If so, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda.
A second?
Second.
The agenda has been motioned and second, and all in favor?
Aye.
The minutes, motion carried. Have you had a chance to look at your minutes, the last minutes?
Make a motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
It has been properly motioned and moved and second that the minutes be approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved. Our first order of business is going to be the Halloween Decorating Contest Awards by Mr. LaCour.
Actually, I'm going to hand that over to Dr. Washington, and she's going to announce our Halloween first place winner, who is
Mr. Clint Lopez. So we thank you for your Halloween decorations for the city of Jacksonville. So congratulations, sir, on your first place win.
and our second place.
Our second place winner is Ms. Christina Rustin. So thank you for decorating your home. The city of Jacksonville enjoyed looking at your home decorations. So thank you for your participation.
And our third place.
Congratulations to Ms. Margaret Benjamin, third place winner at 129 Durban Lane. And thank you for your decorations for the city of Jacksonville, and congratulations to all our Halloween winners.
And now we'll move to the Christmas decorations.
Our first place Christmas decoration is awarded to Mr. Matthew Belsford at, he resides at 411 Brunswick Drive. So congratulations to Mr. Matthew Belsford and his family on winning our first place for our Christmas decoration awards for the city of Jacksonville.
Come on up here. Congratulations.
And we also thank you for your service to our country, and God be with you on your deployment, sir. And return you back home to the city of Jacksonville and to your family safely. You're welcome. Our second place winner is Mr. James Hoops. He resides at 412 Royal Bluff Road. So congratulations to Mr. James Hoops for his Christmas decoration for the city of Jacksonville. And our third place winner is Miss Alyssa Chaucer. She resides at 420 Houston Road. So thank you, Miss Chaucer, for your lovely decorations and lighting up the city of Jacksonville. So congratulations to her. And Mr. Belsford took her award and will present that to her. So on behalf of the Environmental and Appearance Advisory Committee, we say thank you to all the Christmas decoration participants, and specifically for our first, second, and third place winners. So thank you so very much.
And next we will have Holiday Light Overview, Mr. Jason Smith.
Thank y'all for having me this evening. So we're going to kind of parlay right into Christmas decorations on what we did for the city within the Parks Department, and some of the areas that we were taking care of were being responsible for decorating. So pole decorations, it takes us roughly 2 weeks to put them up from start to finish. We use a bucket truck. We have our own escort truck that we use with 5 personnel. We put over 200 of them up over the city. Areas include Belfort, Gum Branch, Hargett, Henderson, Highway 17, the downtown district, down to Riverwalk Park for pole decorations. Here's a couple of photos that we have. This was over at the Commons, where you see how it's set up. There's a lot of safety that's involved with obviously being out on the road. Obviously the Commons is not as high traffic as, say, Gum Branch Road. And so this is a time where we can take time to train others as we move forward. So you can see the hard hat and simple, the decoration doesn't look like it, but that decoration is 5 foot tall and 5 foot wide. And there he is tying in the power on that pole. So we'll talk about the parks a little bit. We did small decorations in the park. If you didn't get a chance, hopefully there's some videos online or something that y'all can at least look at, where we did LP Willingham Park, Riverwalk Park. Even in the Commons, we did some smaller decorations around the trees and stuff like that. Freedom Fountain, and then gateway signs, which we added this year. And we've added some other areas as well. We've put up over 200,000 lights. That's a give or take number. It's well over 200,000. We'll go with that number for now. I didn't sit there and count each one of them as we were putting them up, but there's a lot of them. And then we've added like figurines. There's grapevine balls that we put in. There's crab pot trees. There's all kinds of things that we are kind of playing with and you know, just to make sure that we get a little bit of everything. Here's grapevine balls down at LP Willingham Park. You can see some smaller Christmas trees. If you look in the tree there by the water, there's actually snowflakes that we've installed there. We've probably had about 30 to 35 in those trees. It takes a lot of time to put them up, but it looks tremendous at dark when they're all lit up.
And the birds don't try to.
No, we don't have problems with them. I have more problems with the squirrels in my tree wraps on my live oaks than we have in the trees there for whatever reason. And then you can see we've put PVC hoops. We made all of those. We make our own decorations when it comes to some of the stuff that we do. Obviously, we buy some, but then there's some that we make. And to try to be as efficient as we can. And, you know, things cost, you know, a lot of money. So we're trying to be as frugal as we can with the funds.
Is there any type of safety issues with creating those balls right there?
Safety issues as far as tripping or anything
Or
like that?
like when you're putting it together?
No, so we buy the grapevine balls already made. We put them together when they come shipped. We put them together, we spray them down with epoxy coating so it doesn't weather each year. And we'll wrap whatever light colors that we want done. We'll do them ourselves. And we actually put them with straps to keep them in place. Zip ties. Sorry. And if we need to change them out for whatever reason, we did have some issues with wind. If it's been the last 3 years, it seems like we've had a hurricane almost during Christmas, whether it's before or after, the week after, where we're having to come up with a better staking system now. So it's kind of trial and error. We've learned a little bit. Typically, we've used sod anchors is what we normally would use. This is going to take a little bit more just because of how the size of them and being close to the water like it is. And these are a couple of employees. We're fixing tree wraps from the squirrels right here. And you know, it was cold. It was freezing that day. Going back, we would have to send an individual or two back every day just to make sure everything was okay because they're running for, you know, 12 hours a day. And so if you have rain, you're going to have issues, power and electricity. With moisture, you're going to have some concerns. And we would go back each day just to make sure that everything was hopefully running. If not, we were trying to troubleshoot to find out what was going on. But you can see our enclosed trailer. That trailer right there gets filled up twice during our small decoration season, from back to front, full of stuff, putting them out. And we can, you know, we're doing that in a 3-week period. So it takes a lot of hands involved in what we're doing. And we've had a lot of buy-in with our staff. They are very receptive of making the city look good and taking pride in what it looks like. And it's interesting because I don't even have to drive at 6 o'clock at night. You know, after we get off at 3:30, come back to work. I have guys that will come on their personal time just to make sure that, and, you know, they're happy. They're trying to sell that to their families and stuff like that. And it's a win-win for everybody at the end of the day. These are LED lights this was new that we had added in the crepe myrtles here at Riverwalk Park. This is in that first pod where the actual stage is on the back end of it. If you wouldn't believe it, but there's over 150 lights in each one of those balls. And that's the reason why they're so bright. And in the picture, it doesn't do it justice. Seeing it in real life, it's amazing. and it brightens up that whole intersection right there.
And a compliment, they look beautiful during the day, but
Yeah.
I live right a block away and walk the park different times of the day and night, and just the pride that they take in the work that they did down there. But every year they put in something new or different, and it's just fun to, see not only just the young people and children, they're just like, oh, look at the butterflies this year, or look at the dragonfly, or they just put up different lights down there. And that, I thought, boy, for a bunch of guys, they did pretty good.
Thank you. This is what I call the old Exxon Gateways, Highway 17, where we went in this past year. We put in net lighting around the hollies on the backside of the landscape bed, and then we ran pathway lights along the outside perimeter of the landscape edging that's there. And really the thought process is bringing attention to the entrance to the city. At the end of the day, we did obviously, hold on, let's go back to that for just a second. So we did Gateway at Piney Green, we did the Gateway at Exxon, Gum Branch, and Empire. Those were the four that we tried to work on, and Midway Park. We actually did something at Midway Park. It's a smaller bed there, but at least we tried to catch everybody going through, and I think it was a success. I had some issues here and there, but we kind of got those worked out. We always are going to have some issues when we first begin something. We learn from it, and then we'll try to be more efficient, moving forward. So this was actually pretty neat. I kind of wanted to come up with a farm type of attraction. We hadn't had something like that. We had the standard grapevine balls and Christmas trees and stuff like that, but we wanted a focal point in one of the little landscape islands that we had. So that's actually a windmill. It's a 7-foot tall windmill that goes all the way around. It's animated. And then we took PVC pipe, we wrapped them with red and white, so it was candy cane. So everything was candy cane in that whole pod. So we kind of color coded the pods as you went through it. We had red and white in one, and then we had green and white in one, and then we had an ocean theme in the back of LP Willingham Park. And then we had the traditional Christmas tree with our presents and that type of stuff in the pot as well. So we try to move it around. It's just moving the light from one year to the next. It's not that we're getting a lot of new stuff. It's just a matter of trying to change things up. Now, obviously, the windmill was new this year because we never had that. But I got a lot of compliments on what that was, and it was actually reasonable. This was the butterfly theme in the green and white. This was a, this was a thought process that obviously we do landscaping. Our department is involved in cleaning green, and so what better way to try to bring attention to one, we have a butterfly garden in the center there, where we could put some flowers in there to bring, attractions to it. But then you hung the dragonflies and the butterflies along with it. So I think it was a great focal point, at the end of the day, and it came out very well. There's the snowflakes that you see. It doesn't look like much, but they're a lot of work. There are extremely amount of work that goes into it, tying the power in. Those guys, spent days just making sure that the power was like it was supposed to be. So we didn't have the hurricanes. We didn't have any issues with those during the windstorm where we had issues on the ground, everywhere. And it's because they took the time to do it right, and that was a good thing.
And when did you say you normally start this process?
We started the process this year. Pole decorations we started November 1st, and we were done by the 19th. We were done by the 19th, but we had Veterans Day within that time frame. We started small decorations within that park November 7th, somewhere around there. It was pretty much a week after we started putting pole decorations up. And we finished primarily the park. We didn't have the gateways done. We didn't have some of those areas done, but we had the park primarily done really before Thanksgiving. I just didn't turn everything on. I always like to run through a kind of, a run through here or there to try to get the kinks out. And it took me a couple days to get everything worked out. And I didn't want to draw too much attention down there until we actually had a tree lighting ceremony at the end of the day.
I was just wondering because I don't know if this will be unorthodox, but I was just thinking about the amount of time that goes into this, and if there was a possibility that for the month of October, do we meet October, August, September, October? Yes, we do. The possibility that maybe this group can possibly help volunteer to,
No issue with that. That would be awesome.
to be able to help out.
Great idea.
Still warm enough around October-ish that maybe we can
Yeah, I
substitute
mean, it's
one of
getting
our,
cold towards the
one of
middle
our
November.
meetings.
Cutting it close for me to be on the coast.
Oh, we'll be on the inside
I just
doing
finished
some decoration or rolling some balls together, and they can go outside. Oh, we're inside with hot chocolate. Oh, yes. But I'm just thinking that maybe, you know, that's something to help generate some manpower that we, you know, as long as we're inside, we may be able to, you know, spend a couple of hours and to help.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So,
So I want to mention too about the timing of all of this, just so you understand and you know, we get the pole decorations up. So one of the reasons we're trying to get them up is for the parade. We want to have the city lit up for the parade. In the meantime, we're starting on the park. We have to have it finished before the first Saturday in December, because we have the big Winterfest event and then the tree lighting. Well, the importance of getting the park done is because we don't get the tree until right at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Jason usually goes
I'm
either
gonna-
well, he will tell you, but there's a lot of timing involved in this to make sure we're able to hit some thresholds here to get these things done.
So to parlay into the Christmas tree, because he's right, the Christmas tree is literally the week of Thanksgiving. I go to Tuesday. It's always the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Where this year, and it's the last 3 years, I think it is, that I've been picking up the air station Christmas tree as well when I go get ours. It's in Laurel Springs, so they're North Carolina trees. The air station got a 16-foot tall tree. We got an 18-foot tall tree. If you actually sit there and measured our tree, it's actually closer to 20 foot because of the stand that we use. If you add in the star, you're at 22, somewhere around there. So when we talk about hurricane, we talk about the winds that we had gotten. This is the size tree that we're talking about. That's a 20-foot trailer, and they're full. I mean, it's probably 4,000 pounds. By the time I drive it back, it's probably around 4,000 pounds. I didn't go to the weigh station to check, but it's a load. And it's a load, either one, getting it up, it's a load getting it off, and it's a load whenever it takes them probably 12 people when we're at the tree farm, where they're standing around, and they're only standing around because they have to support when it comes down so you don't break the other tree underneath it. That's the one thing we don't want to do. And this is just a picture of when they were loading the trees. This is me at the air station down at their marina. This year, I met with their facilities group and their recreation group, and we pulled it off, and then we were able to go get our tree underneath, or our tree is underneath it, theirs is on top, and this was all done in one day. There we are, putting the tree up. Doesn't look like much, but the wind was blowing probably 10 miles an hour right there, and we were just trying to tighten it down a little bit more. But this is the process. We put stakes down in the ground. We wrote down supports. But we literally take the bucket truck, tie to the top of it, and basically lean it up. And the bucket truck goes up 35 foot. So we're around 30 foot with the rope on there to get it moved over to where it needs to be. And it's a process. I mean, if you looked at it, you're like, what are they doing? But we make it work. So banners, we're doing 3 to 4 banner change outs, and that is depending on weather for one, because we've run into some issues where we've had pretty heavy winds, and I'll back off. If we know we're having a storm come up or something like that, then we'll back off. We'll kind of extend it a period before we put banners back up. But we're doing 3 to 4 seasonal change outs. The spring and summer, our patriotic, and winter and Christmas, we were able to get those done this year. I know we did 4 this year. We have banners at Gum Branch on this side of the gateway, on the city side of the gateway there, near the Dunkin' Donuts, Catalyst Church, and the actual gateway sign. Highway 17, we added the bridge on New Bridge on 17. We added it this year, or this last 2 change outs. So we've got, I think, 8 on the bridge now. Of course, we have some at City Hall, but then we have some on Old Bridge Street as well. This takes roughly 2 days to do between taking down and putting up. And we're able to, right now we're borrowing a bucket truck from FMS to be able to do it. Occasionally we're having to use traffic signals. They've been a big help in allowing us to use it as needed. Michael talked about, timing. It wouldn't be possible without other departments being able to help chip in. I mean, at the end of the day, if you looked at us one day, we may have an FMS truck. The next day, we may have a traffic signals truck to help get some of this stuff up. Here's some pictures of the banners. This is obviously the bells for Season's Greetings. This is near, I think, Catalyst Church that we had during Christmas. This is a spring one. These are daisies. We'll put those up probably the beginning of March now. This is, obviously it's at our shop, it's not up, but, does anybody have any questions? If they got anything they want to say or whatnot?
I have a question. I know each month they have a newsletter that goes out. The city sends a newsletter out with the information. Is there a way that some of the locations of the Christmas lights can be put on there so folks can actually see it? Because I know some of my grands were down this Christmas and they were out searching for
Right.
Christmas lights.
So, yeah, and that's a great idea. I mean, it really is a good idea. So I didn't go into details, but we did a Santa event this past, and we've done it for 3 years now, Michael?
Yes.
We did a Santa event downtown. It's always the week before Christmas primarily. And we did it for 3 nights where we had Mr. and Mrs. Claus down at the Christmas tree. And basically what we wanted is we wanted foot traffic down there. We wanted people to enjoy something that was free. We gave them hot chocolate. We gave them candy canes, free pictures with Santa. They could have their dog out there if they wanted to. They could have their grandmother out there if they wanted to. So that people could come and people, could get to see some of this. Not only is it just drive-through, but you actually could walk everything as well. And I would say we had probably 600 to 800, I would say, total between the 3 nights. It's always slow the first night, but after night 2 and 3, by 3, we are getting slammed. And it was a way to get some, people coming down there. And it was interesting because the last 2 years I've been kind of up at the front of the park and people drive up, not a clue that it's there. And they're like, well, is it closed for me to be able to drive down here? And I'm like, well, yeah, it is for this portion of the time. But you'd be amazed at how many people actually are going down in that area just for
Just
the
to look
Christmas
anyway.
lights.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
And Jason brought up a great point about that event, and we don't heavily advertise the event, and that is intentional because we can't, it's nighttime, and we cannot take on a massive crowd down there. It's just, we're not set up to do that. We'd have to take a different route on that whole type of thing where we would be shutting roads down and things like that. And we don't feel like that's necessary to do. We get a good output from the community. One of the other things he's not sharing with you that I think is important, when you look at Riverwalk Park and LP Willingham and the Kerr Street areas, a lot of these people, whether it's Winterfest, and we saw this especially at Winterfest this year, and we had a large group of people come down for Winterfest, and then we're doing the Santa event and they're coming in there, and we were very intentional about the way the decorations are put out behind the tree. There are walking paths back there, so the parents would bring their kids or the grandparents, and when they were done they would take them on the walking path and they can walk actually through the decorations. It's kind of neat to see. And if the line's a little too long, they go down there first. If it's not, they go to Santa and then go down there. So it is kind of neat and it's very intentional. It's set up for them to do that, and they surely do take advantage of it.
And the advantage of that event is all of our employees that put that stuff up are the ones working that event,
Right.
and they get to hear the feedback. And that's what drives those guys to have the pride, because they're hearing the positive feedbacks of, having somewhere to go that they, one, maybe not knew about, but was very appreciative of what it looked like and that type of thing.
And don't minimize the hot chocolate that Mike Mumford
Oh, yes.
makes.
Mike makes the best hot chocolate ever. If you know Mike, it's the most chocolate, rich chocolate. He doesn't read the label. He just keeps
Oh,
knowing.
yeah.
It is
Can't walk by
extremely,
him without getting one.
it is very good. It is
our hot
very,
chocolate
very
maker.
good. Oh, yes, he is the doctor. He is the doctor when it comes to hot chocolate.
Okay.
For sure. So does anybody else have anything about Christmas decorations
Yes,
or any?
I like to say that you did a very good job. And the decoration really brings the holiday spirits.
It does.
Because I know we get in our car, and like I say, when the grandkids come down, you just go around and look at the various decoration. And that's really what puts you in the Christmas spirit.
Yes.
So I do want to add one more thing, and he's you know,
I haven't said it yet.
are
Go
you
ahead.
about
Go ahead.
17? Are you
Go
going
ahead,
to talk
go
to
ahead.
him about that? So if you didn't notice this year, it's funny, you know, we try to do things and you do them with this intention and find out something else was happening that you never maybe thought of, and the public's telling you, oh, this. And what I'm talking about is on 17, we wanted to, and we call this area the interchange, and we wanted to put something out over there to one, see what type of reception it was gonna get. And if you weren't aware, just past the light there, right before you get to Western Boulevard, we had some decorations out, and we got massive feedback about it, how great it was, and that's part of taking the step you were talking about, Beth. That was a step for us to take. We got great feedback on it. Well, you know, my thought process was the people driving on 17. That is not where the bang came from. It was the people on the bypass looking down at it as they were driving by. And I hadn't, you know, I didn't think about that. And they were like, oh my God, if you're driving up there and look down at it, I was like, gosh, I didn't even think of that traffic looking at it. So it's kind of neat how your intentions were one thing, and then you find a golden nugget over here that we weren't, maybe Jason thought of that. I didn't. And I just thought, oh wow, that's the impact. Yeah.
And what was interesting about the 17 area was we actually got a letter in the mail from a resident that actually lived right outside the city. And she had came to the Santa event, so we had kind of, and the only reason I knew it was because I actually talked to her. She actually sent us a letter, just so appreciative of what the city looks like, how much the holiday spirit brings into her family as they come into the city. And she obviously knew that 17 had gotten lights and that she was so appreciative in the gateway. I mean, she was naming them all, and she wanted the guys to know how appreciative it was. And so we were able to go to all of them and say, hey, read this.
If you don't think you're making a difference.
Yeah, I mean, this is somebody that doesn't even necessarily live in the city, but they're working here. And she's automatically saying in the letter, she's telling anybody that's here in the city, hey, these lights are here. You need to come look at these. You need to do this. So the sky's the limit when it comes to holiday decorations in reality, because anything's better than nothing. And you can't do anything wrong. Even if you know that you can put 3 strands of lights up. Well, that's 3 strands of lights that you didn't have up before. You're going to draw attention to it somehow, some way. You never know. Does anybody else have anything?
I was gonna say, as part of our transitional community, we have brand new residents. Every 18 months, we have thousands and thousands of new residents. So something that we might think is, oh, it's the same thing every year. It's new to our newest citizens, and the power of social networking and the internet. Because I saw your parks, your lights, all over Facebook, all over Instagram, people telling each other, bring your kids down here, bring your family down, it's free parking, have you seen these lights? And it was just really nice to see like the newer, younger military members and their families down there enjoying it. And I think you just did a great job.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to shift a little bit to clean and green. Obviously, that is, not necessarily the holiday decorations, so to speak, but kind of the other things that we're doing within the year, not necessarily just decorating. So I have 2 staff members, or we have 2 staff members in the Parks Department. They're pretty much, their primary job is to ride around this city and get trash up. And they take pride in what they do. They have to have a job that way. Over 1,000 trash bags have been removed. They pick up anything from furniture, car parts, appliances, wood, green waste debris, every day. There's no telling what they're coming back with to our shop. There's no telling, because I think people think that I'm going to throw it out on the road, somebody's going to pick it up. Not the fact that we have to be the ones to pick that stuff up. And I commend the guys that do this, because you know, Brian, he's been doing it for 2 or 3 years, and he's the same guy every day. You're not going to get a good or bad day out of him. You're going to get the day. And if there's a phone call that, let's say there's a mattress at the gateway sign, somehow it gets there, he's going right then, right there. He knows how important it is. You don't want that by your gateway signs when people are coming into the city. That's not a good look. And we understand that that's time is of the essence when it comes to that. This was a little cleanup job that we did, and it looks little, but that's the 20-foot trailer full of trash bags on 24, and you wouldn't believe where it's at. It's right next to the base, in the ditches down beside that. You can see tires in it. There's construction debris. This was not after a hurricane. This was not after a special storm. This was just going through and making a one-time cleanup there, where we're trying to do it every couple months in an area we know that's pretty high traffic, right up against TT1 and TT2 along 24 over there. This is the construction debris. Look at the shopping carts that we have in that pile. You would be shocked on how many shopping carts do not go back to where they belong. Don't worry, the city of Jacksonville will get them, but we would just like to say, pick up behind yourselves, please. I mean, make the city better, make the city look better. You know, obviously we'll clean it up, but it would be nicer if that was half the pile at the end of the day. But this is probably a month's worth, something like that, give or take. Now we'll go into the landscaping side of things a little bit. This past year, we've installed over 135 trees. We've pruned over 300 trees, and that's still going on. We're still pruning as hard as we can right now. And we've removed at least 75 trees, and maybe even more than that. We have 2 seasonal flower changeouts that we do. We do a spring and a fall. Normally around 2,250. This number is actually going to go up this coming year. We're going up to around 5,000 because of the bus station that has come on board. We'll be adding to around their signs and stuff like that. But we're doing seasonal flowers throughout the city. I mean, this goes from one end of the city to the next end of the city. The Highway 17 interchange area, we didn't just put Christmas decorations out in that area. We actually put seasonal flowers in that area this year for the first time this spring. So we will add that in as we move forward. And because I got feedback, the positive feedback of they recognize that something's there. It's a good spot. You're at an intersection where you got 3 or 4 sets of traffic sitting there. Why not try to draw attention to our landscaping? We spent a lot of time working on it. I want people to see it. So we put in over 500 shrubs. We've pruned over 1,000, and that number is still counting. And we've removed about 150, and that still will be increasing as we move forward. Here's a few maintenance things that we've done. We installed 8 tractor trailer loads of rock mulch just at the bus station this past year at the Jacksonville station, revamping those landscape beds because they were mulch. We wanted something that was long-term. That is why we're using the rock mulch. It costs a little bit more on the front side, but it is a forever type of situation where we're not having to pay man hours and labor year after year after year to replenish mulch. We can go in with rock mulch, and primarily we don't have to do much to it. And then we did mulch in a couple areas. We did 5 tractor trailer loads. DOT area, there is a DOT area that we still do mulch, primarily because it's so big in area. It's a huge area, you know, and you don't think, 5 tractor trailer loads of mulch is a lot, but that's 400 cubic yards. That's 400 tractor loads of mulch. And that's taking it up, putting it down, spreading it out, blowing around it, edging it, the whole 9 yards. And so it's a lot of work. We mowed over 500 plus acres in our areas, the roadway areas, etc. It's over 1,000 acres if you add in the park system itself. And we're mowing them on a pretty consistent basis, 31 weeks out of a year. It's obviously weekly during the summer. It varies a little bit when you're in this time of the year. It depends on lease. It depends on those type of things. Here's some future projects, and actually one that we just started finishing up now. We just installed the white vinyl fencing at Wilson Bay Park. We are in the process of putting phases together for actually City Hall. We did some hardscape work already. We're going to be adding some landscaping, changing some stuff out. It's probably 20 years old or roughly getting close to it at this point. And the idea is, the thought process is you're getting Old Bridge or New Bridge Street done. We kind of want to get City Hall kind of phased in the same time frame, so we kind of have the same look to a certain extent. We are overseeing the Fire Station 4 planning and installation, and cross our fingers, we're close to getting hopefully the fire station ready to roll here shortly. And just a side note, they actually are staying with our department right now. They have been for the last 2 months. Actually been staying at our facility, a smaller group of that fire station, until theirs is actually being built.
So if you're not aware, Fire Station 4, which was where the county's 911 system is, which isn't far down the road from our base, our park maintenance facility, the city sold that building to the county and is building a new fire station not far from it, actually. And, you know, when we talk about fire, we talk about the ability that they need to be in certain zones. So moving them, they had to stay within that zone. And what we were able to do is they've got some campers, trailers, whatever word you want to call them, and they park them at our site, and they actually live out of them. So they're not just our neighbors, they're living with us. And it's worked out really well for the fire department. While I'm sure they're excited and can't wait to get to Fire Station 4 when it's finished, we're glad, and I know they are too, that we were able to provide them a space where they're able to respond to calls in the appropriate amount of time. And that was key. And I think that's a great indication that, you know, while this was us this time, I think any other department in the city would have done that. I think it's a great example of how we all do work. We have to work with each other to get things done. And that's just one example of it. But we do enjoy having the fire department with us.
And so we've got mulching to do, we've got pruning to do in our gateways throughout the city. We've already started cutting all our grasses back. The landing has over 300 grasses out there. We've got most of those cut back now. And we're getting ready to start fertilizing and doing weed control to get some of that stuff kind of minimized, so we're not over there hand picking or anything. We'll put a pre-emergence out to try to eliminate some of the weeds that will be popping up here in the spring. Last week we had the 70-degree temperature day, 1 or 2 of those days, and you start seeing the dandelions and you start seeing the spring, you know, weeds start popping up, and you're like, oh no, it's already, sorry, I'm gonna have to get the mower cranked up here. And give it time, it's gonna cool back down, it'll slow back down. So it's just a look for dogwoods. If dogwoods start blooming, get ready to start mowing. That's the whole case, okay? So just be on that lookout for any of the dogwoods, the white color and the pink. If you start seeing those in the forsythias, which is a yellow flower, a little small yellow flower, if you see those start blooming, you're getting ready to get some warmer weather. And that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions about what the Parks Department is doing in general? Or
Just one, I noticed it said, I think it was 75 trees removed. Is that damaged or dead trees? What is it?
yeah, it's damage, dead, disease. Those are the 3 Ds. We always look at that whenever we're looking at. I marked one today that we're going to have to go remove now.
Damage, disease,
And dead.
and dead. Okay.
There is one other reason we would remove a tree, and I'm sure it falls within that category. You know, sometimes trees need the appropriate amount of space to grow the way they need to grow, and they don't need to compete with each other, or what will happen, neither tree will end up doing well because of that. And there are times, not often, that maybe we'll find an area that, you know, 20, 30 years ago, somebody planted something and their intentions were good, but the trees are on top of each other and both trees may be struggling, and we have to come in and remedy that.
So relocation.
Well, not so much relocation, because we will take the tree out, If trees are older, it's very difficult for us to relocate larger trees. And the success rate of that in the long run, I'm not sure that's cost effective. We actually did do that. There was a tree at Sturgeon City. We tried to relocate. It's a
Did
beautiful
4
tree.
3 of them.
We did 3 of them, and we put a lot of time and effort into doing that, and they didn't make it, unfortunately. And you know, it's not that it can't ever be done. It's just I guess each one would be a case in itself. You have to kind of judge.
You have to baby it.
Right.
You
do have to spend a
You
little
really
more
have to
time.
spend some time doing it. And I would tell you, you know, based off those numbers, and we're averaging anywhere from 50 to 100 trees that we probably remove within the year. Some of them may be car wrecks. Some of them may be other things that happen within the city. Say some of the Bradford pears down on 24. And the reality is, though, we're planting 4 to 5 in its place, somewhere within the city. So it's not like we're going in and just saying, hey, we want to take these out. We're trying to add somewhere else within the city that we're doing it. And one thing that I didn't say is, we talk about trees a little bit, but I'm involved in the North Carolina Urban Forest Council. And I didn't put a slide in here, and I'm not trying to put a plug in for them, but their primary goal is urban forestry. And it's been a really good organization for us in the city to get involved in. If you don't remember, Andy came here from the forestry department and did a slideshow, and they did some assessments and tree canopies and that type of thing within the city. I'm on the board with Andy, and we've had really good open communication of potentially looking at maybe some more work for the city to get out of what Andy and the forestry department has done. And because I'm on the board, I feel like that communication is a whole lot better for at least the city of Jacksonville to look at other ways and other avenues that we can grow from a tree perspective. Not just Christmas decorations or not just flowers, but from a tree perspective as well. And that's all I got.
Any other questions?
Corey, I have a question for you. When you said the resident moves into the fire station, do they stay there or do they go back home at any time? Do they stay a certain length of time and
24 hours.
Oh, okay.
When they're with us,
Uh-huh.
well, they're at our facility. Yeah, that's their regular shift, is a 24-hour shift. They do have, like I said, again, I'll use different words, RVs, trailers, whatever term you want to call that, that they sleep in. They're not allowed to sleep in our building because we're not set up with sprinklers, and they cannot sleep anywhere that doesn't have sprinklers. So they have to sleep in the trailers, but obviously they park their vehicle in our bay, and they're there, we'll leave at 3:30, 5 o'clock, depending on what time we leave, and they're still there. They're gonna be there, and it is what it is. Shift changeover at 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
And
they have three
we
different.
see a new crowd every morning.
You're there for a day.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
stay
they're there
the
for a
whole
full day.
Yeah.
And it really, it has been kind of cool to have them there. We will definitely miss them. They refer to us as the KOA, the campground. That's who we are. We're the campground.
That's good.
So, what I wanted to talk to you about tonight, following up on what Jason was talking about, is he mentioned the Wilson Bay fence, and obviously, Beth, you've seen that. If you haven't had the opportunity at Wilson Bay Park, we created a different look at the park. We had a white vinyl fence on what I call the front of the park, where the parking lot is, more of what I call a split rail fence vinyl. And then if you're in the parking lot on the left side, we have went all the way down the length of the depth of the park, I guess is the proper way to say that, to the boardwalk with a white vinyl fence that goes all the way down. It does pop a little bit. It gives the park a good look. And I have received a phone call or two about that, so that's kind of exciting that the residents over there are noticing that. We just finished it late last week, so pretty thanks for noticing.
They're slated for other improvements as well, aren't they?
We are. And actually, since we're talking about that, I'm actually gonna go to that area's neighborhood meeting Monday night, have a talk with them about some of those things.
Is that the Bay Shore?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Jason talked about some areas that we're cleaning up. I would like to jump on board and say that we just finished the parkway and cut the grasses on there. So if you drive down the parkway to us is, again, if you're on the bypass coming to Western Boulevard, that area's been cleaned up. If you're driving down there, you're gonna notice it. It's I call it the high and tight look. It's very cleaned up in there. By the middle of summer, they'll be in full bloom. And then I wanted to share with you about Arbor Day. So National Arbor Day this year is on April 26th, and we thought that was a good date for us to have Arbor Day. And I want to make sure that you guys are good with that. And I've talked to Parkwood Elementary, and I don't think we've been to Parkwood in quite some time. And I did reach out to see if they were interested in hosting. I didn't commit us to anything, but the principal over there was extremely excited and said if we'd like to be there, that she would love to have us. And so I wanted to bring that to you. If that's something you're interested in, we can move forward with that. And then if not, you had another school in mind, we can look at that.
So that's a Friday.
Yes, ma'am. And if I guess I don't hear anything, I'll move forward with that. And, I'll just say this. Jason said something really key about our department. And, one of the things we do work on and we talk about is buy-in with the staff. And, we do feel like we have good buy-in with our staff. They actually do care, and they want to do a good job, and it's important to them to do a good job. It's obviously evident from the Christmas decorations that they ride around looking to make sure that the work they did is working. Obviously, they want to show it off to their family, which is awesome. What a great thing to do. Hey, look what we did. Look what I was a part of. But they care enough to go out there to make sure what it is we're doing is working. We talked about the gentleman that picks up trash for us, those people. Let me tell you something, that's not a job for everybody. That's not a job everybody wants to do. That guy has embraced that job, and he leads us even at times on different ways to do the job better, because he is familiar with it now, and he is taking ownership of it. And we're not perfect by any means. We're far from it, but we are trying and taking steps to move in the right direction, and I think we're on that track right now. So I just wanted to share that with you. No other report.
Any other comments?
I would just like to say that on behalf of this committee, we truly indeed thank the Parks and Recreation, definitely the parks, for the beautiful display of the decorations that we saw at Christmas time. And obviously with the report that was given from Mr. LaCroix and Mr. Smith, that the time that goes into it often is not known to us, but just looking at the beautiful craftsmanship and the work, I just want to say thank you for your service that you put in every day to make this city looks beautiful, and the reflection is being seen throughout the city and other parts of the world. So just thank you for your dedication and what you are doing to make
Thank
the
you.
city
That's very nice of you.
Jacksonville.
We'll be happy to share that with the staff.
Absolutely. And one more bit of information that I would like to share with everyone, on this coming Tuesday, February the 6th at 4:30 p.m., the city of Jacksonville is going to have their recognition ceremony for their employees, starting with 5 years service, and I think the oldest length is 35
Yes,
5
ma'am.
years we're gonna recognize. So please, that's also a day that the council is going to have their workshop meeting. So an hour before the workshop meeting at 4:30, we will have the city employees longevity ceremony and a reception. So please come back out to City Hall and to give recognition to those workers.
I'm gonna hop on that for 1 second and remind everybody tomorrow night at Richard Ray Park, the recreation side of the house has a snow event. So if you've ever been to Winterfest, you've seen us with our snow event. We have slides that are set up down there. We make snow, and we actually do make real snow. It's not fake snow. We actually make it. And tomorrow night we're doing that. And I think their hours are 5 to 9.
5 to
Feel
9.
free to call tomorrow to make sure, but I'm sure they're 5 to 9. And in the past, when we're in the park, we have actual slides we use. We're gonna actually use the hills at the park, the natural landscape out there, and we've already created the lanes for that. So it should be a fun event. And if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, grab your family and come on out. It's a pretty fun time. Thank you.
Is there anything else? Can I get a motion? Oh, our next meeting will be 6 p.m. Thursday, April 4th. And can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is it probably moved in second, and we will adjourn.